Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Forza Horizon 6. This is my brutally honest review, but I wanted to start with a specific question. Do I hate it? Why start with such a negative question? Because for the last 10 years, I have very much not enjoyed the Forza series, which is weird because I grew up loving Forza. The Forza Motorsport games especially were just such crazy, beautiful, hyper-realistic racing simulator with some of the best tracks ever made. But I always thought that Forza Horizon 4 and 5, while the rest of the internet is saying they're the best games of all time, I found them to be incredibly boring. The racing, the controls, the physics have been getting better, but the maps have been getting worse and worse. Forza Horizon 5 just felt like a giant empty desert. 85% of the game, driving from place to place, was literally just sands and sunsets, and it really bored the heck out of me. So going into Forza Horizon 6, I had zero hype. Literally zero. That's why you haven't seen me talking about it, is that I could not truly even care about this. But I wanted to play with an open mind. Forza Horizon 6 is fantastic. Taking the action to Tokyo, this is the biggest map yet, the most beautiful location by far, with the best music, the best controls, the best cars. Just every single aspect of this is true Forza fantastic perfection. Now, some people are trying to claim, oh, this is definitely game of the year. I'm not going to go that far, but let's break down the goods and the bads, because I have to say, wow, this is the fattest Xbox L I've ever taken. I'm glad I was so wrong about this, but let's get into the goods and the bads. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's begin with what is Forza Horizon, what this series is, and why it plays so different than a lot of other racing games. It's an interesting mix, to be honest. The Forza Horizon games, and especially in 6, they're this nice, interesting feel, which is that it's like really hyper-realistic physics in a lot of ways, but mixed with an arcadey style of balance. The grip on the tires is fantastic. Drifting feels extra easy. Going through these crazy courses, driving off cliffs, pushing people off the road for that next big cornering turn. Everything feels so incredibly kinetic, but also so heavy. And it feels so satisfying, right? Everything you're driving in here, it's not that it's hyper realistic. You know, when I'm flying down the road at 200 miles an hour in a car, it's not like, wow, this is just an exact simulation. It's more about, it's the way you dream about driving these cars. And honestly, doing it through the streets of Tokyo, just trying to do food deliveries, head-to-head races, downhill jams, going around at night through crazy storms and stuff. There is a race where you go against a mech. You literally get in a street race against a Gundam. Can you tell me, this is the thing about this, right? Is that the Forza games are not trying to be hyper-realistic. They're trying to be fun with a sense of realism sprinkled in. And I feel like Forza Horizon 6, they finally got it truly perfect when it comes to the controls and the fun. But the other aspect of it is that Forza needs a good map. Part of the reason I absolutely hated the other games is that it really came down to the fact that it always felt like hospital food to me. In that, you know, hospital food, you eat it and it's good for you, but it just completely lacks spice. It lacks flavor. It just feels so bland. And even if it is substance, it just never really felt like it was that satisfying crunch of a crazy cool mechanic. Whereas Forza Horizon 6, it feels like we finally reached Flavor Town. It's finally a game that manages to have the great driving of the other games, but mix it with, I don't know, tracks that are actually worth having. So what is so cool about this game? One of the biggest changes they made is that in Forza Horizon 6, now there's finally a story again. It's pretty loosey-goosey, but basically you're a person that's coming to Japan specifically to experience the racing life, which means that you're not exactly showing up rolling in cash. Instead, you're working your way up through the ranks, called the wristband system. So you can't just do the races in any order you want. As you're winning stuff, as you're winning courses, you essentially get like these level up points, and when you get enough, you can compete in the next championship, succeed, and you unlock the next colored band. Basically, the map grows and grows and grows, getting more and more dense with more objectives, more collectibles, more craziness. And I think it does a good job of keeping it where I really didn't like in Forza Horizon 5, they just put 500 things on the map and go, there you go, and it becomes so bland so fast. Having a trillion tiny pointless objectives and saying, oh, just checklist them off one by one. That's not exciting. Here, having it where each act is freeform but leads to these dedicated championships, it has this sense of control and function that makes it where I actually cared. I actually got excited watching that meter fill up. Oh, third place, I only get 1,000 XP, but first place, I get 1,500 XP. So if I win 3 more races and blow everybody out, I get to compete in the next championship. It doesn't just feel good, it actually feels rewarding, right? And we have to talk about the graphics. So this is being played on the Xbox Series X. This looks so much better than even the gameplay footage capture. I don't talk about this very often, but YouTube does compress stuff. This looks absolutely insane on your TV. Playing this on a 4K OLED, it looks like absolutely real life, especially the reflective streets racing around in the snow. It actually completely looks the way that really like that half-melted slurry is on the road while you're trying to drift around. It is crazy just how good every single aspect of this looks, especially with that ray tracing. Throughout all the course of my hours with this, I never had a single frame rate drop. I never had a hard crash. I never had anything. The game is just super fluid perfection. But this does bring me to my first real complaint, something that to me does still exist as a problem. So in Forza Horizon 5, they just shovel cars down your throat. Literally, every race you win, they give you like $1 million cash. I'm exaggerating a bit, but a lot of times they'd give you $50,000 to $100,000 for even like random races, and then usually give you constant free cars, or even competing in a race. Even if you didn't win, they'd give you like the next rally car and stuff. And to me, that got incredibly boring. Now, Forza Horizon 6, they've dramatically reduced the amount of cars. I'd say they cut the free cars in half by about 50%. I still think they're too high. I just feel like part of the fun of racing games is getting a vehicle and making it yours. You know, here's my vehicle with my custom paint job, my custom stickers, my custom tuning that I love the most, right? Whereas if you're constantly, here's another supercar, here's another Lamborghini, here's another jet track, right? I always think that when you're getting too much of it, it creates that sense of flavorlessness when you're constantly just jumping from car to car to car that it doesn't really feel like you earned. This does it less. I still don't like some stuff like that roulette wheel. As you're leveling up and unlocking and doing bonuses and stuff like that, they give you like roulette wheel spins and stuff. Stuff like this, I really don't know who this is for. Handing out cars with a literal roulette wheel is just something about that just feels kind of icky and weird. But let me talk a bit about the map size, right? So in this, you can fast travel. Fast travel is free once you've unlocked a portion of the map, but it's cool that one of the fun parts about Forza Horizon 6 is just driving around, which sounds obvious, right? It's a driving game, but it's more than that, which is that this being set in not just the streets of Tokyo, but also the beautiful outlying nature parts around that, seeing mountains off in the distance, snowy peaks, beautiful little tiny villages, the rice fields still just wet with that next season of crops. Everything in this is not just gorgeous, but it seems so alive. And it's so cool to just be cruising around because all across the map, there's tons of hidden events, all sorts of speed traps, drifting challenges, little hidden stuff, a sign you break to get experience points, or hidden collectibles. Oh, smash these mascots. And this is the first one of the Forza games ever where I cared about that. Where if I was flying down the road, going to the next race, it didn't feel like a checkbox. I'd actually go, oh, another sign, and swerve over to get it. And I just feel like this is the first game where it feels like the idea and the concept finally connected of, oh, fun randomness, cool world building, I care about it. It's the first one where they've really managed to make me sort of clock in and care about all the fun exploration aspect, which is silly because I feel like exploration in a car game almost seems like goofy or counterintuitive, but man, they absolutely did it. It really does feel like they cared about the idea of Japan in this, from the fact that you could turn on the radio and sometimes they're speaking Japanese, or there's an American DJ host playing baby metal or all sorts of cool techno and stuff. This is the first soundtrack of any Forza game that's actually good. I mean, it's a nice mix of like custom music and licensed tracks and all sorts of really great stuff. I mean, the fact that it has an actual soundtrack that had me going, hell yeah, this is my jam, that is definitely a first, at least when it comes to Forza for me. There's so much in this game that just feels like it's so covered in sauce. I like the fact that there's so much stuff. Even like, I really liked, I don't know why, The food deliveries especially really connected a dot with me. That felt so incredibly fun. Something about like these little extra mini games. I'm not even doing it because, oh, this pays me $20,000. It's the fact that it's so cool to drive like a Japanese truck through Tokyo streets trying to avoid stuff and not damage the goods. Basically being a DoorDash delivery driver with nitro. It's just so nice that it finally feels like they managed to get that sense of world with that sense of structure that the other games just completely lacked. They were just too freeform for my freaking tastes. But that does bring me to my other tiny complaint, and this is something that I feel like you kind of catch on to a lot, which is that it still has those nice races. You still drive to events and do them, that's all fun, but there's something about this world that feels so incredibly empty. There's very few NPCs. Nobody's ever crossing the road. No, like when you're driving around the cities, there's literally pretty much nobody out. There's nobody out that's not like behind some sort of safety barrier, or nobody that's not inside like a store eating ramen. And I still feel like if you're going to make a world that's this big and this beautiful, I wish that there was at least crowd density or something. It is weird that a game manages to have so much going on, like gameplay wise, and so little going on, like aesthetically. I just wish there was a little something extra that made it feel, I don't know, lived in. Like, maybe that's just me, but I wish there was like graffiti here and there, or some sort of event, some sort of like ticker tape parade, or a falling down sign, something that made it feel more alive than it currently is. Because right now, it is such a picture perfect snapshot of Japan. I kind of want that grime in my racing games that makes it feel more like a world that people are enjoying instead of just this like perfect little snow globe take on Japan. Overall, I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm just sort of appreciating the fact that it feels like they reached and reacted to so much feedback. They tried to make it even more refined, even more beautiful, but finally in a spot that, well, we care about. So, I gotta say, as a racing fan, whether you're playing it online, whether you're playing it by yourself, whether you're just doing it against the drivatars, basically, whenever you're fighting against the NPC racers, they name it after other people in your friends list that have the game. It's super fun to run people like the Iron Lords podcast people off the road, or, you know, RGT85. It's fun to just crash them off the road, drift across the finish line, and take another blue ribbon. But I gotta say, I'm actually impressed. Okay. So we've heard some good, some bad. Let's go to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Forza Horizon 6 a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Wowzers, it's good. It's actually, the game bangs, brothers. All right, you guys have a great day. And if you get on the track, whether it is on Game Pass or you pay for the game yourself, it's good. I'm still thinking about double dipping and getting on PlayStation 6. I've heard it as complete crossover, cross progression, so I could take my current garage, my current cleared file, and export it over, get some free trophies. Tempted. Well, you guys rock. Have a good one. Keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.